Do you like cupcakes? A friend of mine was getting married and he needed something to display cupcakes in. I said, I know a guy that can make you trays. So if you want to watch a video about making trays, this is your video. This is a tray that you use to display cupcakes at a wedding. So what he wanted was some rustic pine, and I happened to get lucky and find this board at Menards. I think it was $20 or something like that. But what I did is I used the cut list optimizer to figure out how to cut this board up the best to make 4 trays. So away I went, chopping. Next, I used a flat tooth blade to cut a groove into all the side panels to accept the bottom after the miters were glued up. And I used the Prestige blade. Here's a quick tip for you too. If you ever split the end, just slap some super glue in there and use a little blue tape to hold it together. I don't worry too much about the gloop. I'll just sand that off later. I just want to make sure it gets held together. Next, I used the CNC machine. I wanted to put my logo in the bottom, so use the blue tape trick and a little bit of super glue to hold it down. And while I was at it, I decided, so I'm already putting this in, why not cut out the whole bottom and add a chamfer to all the edges, add a little bit of fun to the design, because the design is in the details. I think it's always fun watching the CNC in fast motion. And after I cut all these out, I did spray paint them just to add some color, and then of course sanding. And when I was done, I did more sanding. Love sanding. Now it's time to put the 45s in all the pieces. I basically made my own jig with some scrap wood, and just watch your fingers when you're doing that. Now is the fun part, the glue up. Make sure, I don't show it here, but make sure to dry fit everything before you actually slap glue on it and put it together. Just save yourself some time. But add a bunch of glue, and then I use these bandy type clamp things. I don't know what they call them. They're straps, ratchet straps. I got them from Harbor Freight. I've used them for years. They hold up. They work great. And then cleaning out the glue. I don't know if you guys use or know about this pocket knife, but it's a Stanley 1049 pocket knife. I use it for everything. I use it for cutting. I use it for a marking knife. And to clean up, squeeze out on glue, it's great. You can get replacement blades. I'll leave a link for that too. I love that. And of course, check for square. Make sure everything's square and flat. And then this is one of my favorite tools, the new tools. This is the Rockler doweling key corner kit or something like that. I'll leave a link in the description for it. But I love this thing. It adds little dowels into the corners to hold the miters. Something different than your typical spline. You can always use different colored dowels in there. Yeah, you can have a lot of fun with it. I love using it. And it's great strength for those miters. And then, after everything's assembled, it is time for more sanding, and more sanding, and more sanding. And then I take a little bit of mineral spirits, wipe off all the dust before putting on oil. And I used the Walrus Oil cutting board oil on this. I use it on everything, but unfortunately, when I put it on, the footage was corrupted, so I had this left from when I was putting on Instagram. And it's just soaking in that. I let it soak in for a day. I just let that oil soak in. And then, and this is the best oil in the world. Afterwards, you just come wipe it off. It leaves a great finish. It does a great job. I'll leave a link in the description for this too. If you haven't used this or you have cutting boards that you need oiled, this stuff is the best. I haven't found anything better. And I also use some of their wood wax or cutting board wood wax on it. It gives a nice finish to everything, kind of seals it all in. I love it, and I want everything to be food safe. Cupcakes are going to be going in here, so another, I like this better than polyurethane. I just rub that wax in, wipe it off, and after this, I should have a good look at the final product. Yeah, there it is, and they wanted them rustic, so they're pretty rustic. They got a lot of knots. It's just pine. It's just edge glued pine panel that I found. It worked great. And this is the rest of the video. I want to say thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And if you like any of the products I recommended, check them out. They're all in the description there. It really goes a long way to helping the channel, and I appreciate it. Otherwise, subscribe and wait for the next video. Keep rocking.